Hey everyone, and welcome to this, which is the start of my deload week. So normally I deload with doing the same sort of weights, but doing a lower volume. However, this time around I've had lower back issues, problems with the ribs and such like, and generally some aches and pains. So what I've aimed to do this time is I'm actually going to be doing a deload, doing some more recovery stuff, but also making sure that I'm not doing too much spinal loading or lower back loading, or core loading in fact, to not aggravate those issues and hopefully let them recover for another week. The main idea behind this is because I'll be doing a 3-week peaking cycle before the competition, and I'd like to be as fit and well as I can be and as recovered as I can be, so hopefully that gives us the best chance. So as you can see here, rather than actually doing a normal squat day, I've opted to do what's called a belt squat. So this will allow me to actually get some squats in, get some reps in, without actually loading my back or my core too much. Because obviously the weight's hanging around your hips, so the weight is mainly on your hips and your legs and alleviating the pressure off your back. Now I wanted to keep the weight fairly heavy, so I've actually worked up to 60 kilo on the belt squat, which is fairly high for what I'd normally do. I'd normally do about 40 kilo and do a few reps, but I'm doing 60 kilo here, and I've gone for tempo squats to make them even more difficult, so that's slow centric movement. Now the simplest way of doing these is as shown, so you use a weight belt that you use for dips or for pull-ups, and then you just add the weights and you squat down between 2 benches or 2 platforms like this. Now you can also use a loading pin if you've got one on a weight belt. This makes it a little bit easier rather than having the weights just dangling freely like I am doing. However, it's not too much of a problem if you want to do it like this. One other tip is that if you actually really want to target the quads, if you keep your knees forward as you're coming down, keep them over your toes, and actually keep your knees forward as much as you can as you're coming out of the hole. Obviously you're not going to be able to do this all the way up, but as much as possible, this does target the quads quite a bit and you will feel quite a bit of a burn. I also use this time to work on bracing and trying to keep a neutral spine position and such like. Just general squat technique, but without the added load, as I said before. So with it being a deload week, I also worked on some recovery and some activation drills. So here I'm actually working on just getting a bit of a pump, getting the blood flowing, and working on activating the adductors and the glutes. This can also help to a degree actually strengthening the adductors as well. So doing 3 different heights actually hits it in slightly 3 different ways, because obviously your hip angle is slightly changed between the 3, and it allows you to get all the different areas that you... Obviously this video is sped up a bit, but you do actually want to hold the contraction at the end of the range of motion just for a second or so before you do the next. Now I've covered off this stretch before, but it simply helps open up the back of the hip and helps stretch the adductors on the leg that's crossed over the top. So you cross your leg over the top, lean forward, and you can push through your hip. All the rest of it that I did that day was a static squat stretch here and a static groin stretch. The idea is very similar, where you just actually use your elbows to push out your knees and get a good stretch. Okay guys, I'll catch you next time with more deload stuff.